Hey, everyone. Welcome to the opening spotlight of the 2021 New York International Children's Film Festival. My name is Maria Cristina Villaseñor. I'm the programming director of NICIF, and I'm so thrilled that audiences across the country can join us for the first time ever. We're online. So welcome everybody, wherever you are. We are super excited for our program today. We are spotlighting NAHUEL and the Magic Book. It's the North American premiere by director Germán Acuña, and we're going to have a great conversation today, learn all about the film, the making of, some exciting behind the scenes footage, and it should be great, and of course answer your questions. So before we introduce them, I'm just going to take a quick moment to thank all of the amazing people and organizations that have helped to make the festival possible. I want to thank our incredible staff, our board, our interns, our programming committee, our members, our wonderful partners and supporters everywhere, and of course our filmmakers. It's an amazing international crew of filmmakers who've been so kind to share their vision and their innovative films with us, and we're so grateful. And thank you, all of you, for tuning in, whether it's your first time or you're a member. We welcome you. We want you to be a part of the community and take part in the conversations and just be inspired by these amazing films. So thank you for being here. We're a small nonprofit with a big mission to support a more intelligent, diverse film culture for kids, and we couldn't do it without each and every one of you. So please check out all of the offerings that we have. We have 14 different features. We have 7 different shorts programs. We continue to have Q&As throughout, a lot of really great opportunities to engage with film, from tots to teens to everyone who is a fan of animation and these amazing stories that we share. And the festival runs through March 14th, so you have time to check out plenty of these interesting programs. So please go to our website, and also you can learn there about becoming a member, supporting us in different ways, getting involved in our Film Ed classroom, all kinds of interesting things that we have going on throughout the year. So now that we have that underway, let's go ahead and introduce our filmmaker. I want to now bring in Germán Acuña, who's coming to us from Chile. Welcome, Germán.
Hi, thank you for the invitation.
Oh, thank you for joining us. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Germán. He runs the animation studio Carburadores in Chile, which is one of the, of course, driving forces of NAHUEL. And you'll get to look a little bit behind the scenes at how things were actually put together in their studios. It was also made with Punk Robot, based in Chile, and also with Brazil's Levante Films. And the film had its world premiere this summer at the prestigious Annecy Animation Festival in France, and we are thrilled that we have the North American premiere. So we're really honored, Germán, that you've shared this film with us, and we've already gotten some comments from our audience about how moved they are and excited, and it's just going to keep on going. So I'm excited to hear from you and learn more about your inspiration. So let's just start off. I'm actually going to have us all jump into the story world of NAHUEL, because some of you have had the chance to see this already. Some of you may be tuning in for the first time, but it's just really nice to get immersed into the whole story world and vision of it. So let's take a look at the trailer.
Brujos del siglo pasado, encantos y pociones. Uy, ¿qué lugar es este? De todos los libros de magia y brujería, este es el más valioso que se haya escrito jamás. Hechizo de valentía.
¿Quién se atrevió a entrar en la casa del guardián?
Maestro Calco, un niño tomó el levisterio.
¡Fuera! ¡Fuera!
¡Papá!
que tu padre aún está con vida, pero en serios problemas.
Dime dónde encontrar al brujo y cómo lo enfrento.
El brujo está actuando para obtener el misterio.
Sé que escondes al muchacho.
¡Niños, corra!
Tú quieres recuperar a tu padre y yo necesito revertir esta maldición.
¡Un perro que habla!
Siento que algo muy malo va a ocurrir con Calco.
¿Se te perdió algo?
Encontraré a ese horrible brujo y rescataré a mi padre.
¿Y cómo piensas hacerlo, mocoso?
¿Una apuesta?
Si me ganas, te digo dónde encontrar al brujo. Pero si pierdes...
¡Nahuel! ¡Nahuel!
An impressive film and an impressive trailer. There's a lot of drama packed in there.
Yeah, thank you.
How does it feel, first of all, to be sharing this film in the US for the first time?
Oh, it's great. I'm super excited to share the film because we worked in the film about 5 years. It was a 5-year production. So there's a lot of expectation about how the audience is going to react to the film. So in every festival that we have the chance to show the film, it's it's very exciting for us. Yeah, in different countries, you know, we've been the film has been showed in France and Chile, and now in the US, Russia, you know, a lot of countries. So it's always great to share the film.
Yeah, for us, it's really special, and for our audiences, we get a lot of requests to have more Spanish language films and more representations from Latin America. So thank you personally, and from our audience. You know, it's really nice to see a film with characters that look like a lot of us and speak like a lot of us in this country. So having that connection is really fantastic, and I'm sure people will want to hear more from that, and we'll dig into that. But one of the things I want to start out just before we go into the making of is that I know our kid audiences especially always really like to talk about what inspired our filmmakers and sort of how maybe you first started thinking about film or animation when you were young.
Yeah, I think in my case, and I think maybe a lot of animation directors is the same. As a kid, I used to watch a lot of anime and used to read a lot of comics. So I think in my case, there was one show in particular that for me was like a world changing. This show is Future Boy Conan from Hayao Miyazaki. It's a post-apocalyptic world where Conan has to, you know, rescue his grandfather, and at the same time, the whole civilization is in crisis. So it was great for me to watch a show that was so different from the rest of the animation that I was used to see in the television, you know. So it was a very complex story, a very complex. It has a lot of complex characters. So for me, it was like, oh, you can tell these kind of stories with animation. So to these days, for me, that TV show TV series is a big influence, and I think it was the starting point in my my career or in my life, you know, regarding the animation.
And did you, were you someone who drew a lot when you were a child? Did you always kind of gravitate to creativity and graphics, or when did you first decide that you were somebody that could take part in making this creative universe?
Actually, when I was a kid, I also like a lot of biology. So I was always divided between the, you know, drawing and the studying the animals and things like that. So I think maybe when I was like around 18, I decided like that I wanted to study and work in a creative thing. I studied graphic design because animation wasn't a career here in that time. So the nearest thing for me to study was graphic design. So I did a lot of self instruction things to get to put me in the point that I can call me an animator, you know.
Yeah. And at the same time, it kind of makes sense what you're saying, you know, biology is like a study of systems, and you're sort of looking graphically at the body and how things come together, and then graphic design and animation. So
yeah,
it's like there's a cool logic there. I want to jump now into looking at how your own story kind of inspired, or at what point you were inspired to create the character of Nahuel. But maybe shall we take a look at the introductory clip where you talk about some of these themes a little bit, and then we'll come back to you?
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's take a look at our first clip, please.
Bienvenidos, mi nombre es Germán Acuña, yo soy el director del largometraje de animación NAHUEL y el libro mágico. NAHUEL y el libro mágico es una película que trata sobre un chico de 12 años que tiene que enfrentar sus más profundos miedos para poder rescatar a su padre. Es una película que no solamente despliega elementos de aventura y fantasía, sino que también habla de la emocionalidad y de la importancia de las relaciones familiares en la superación de los miedos. Como director, mi intención era poder contar una historia universal para un público amplio, un público familiar, pero que en esta historia pudieran haber elementos culturales propios de Latinoamérica. Yo crecí consumiendo muchas historias de ninjas, de robots, de caballeros medievales, pero siempre extrañé las cosas que tenían que ver con mi entorno más cercano. Por lo tanto, una de mis mayores motivaciones como director es poder tomar toda esta riqueza cultural que tenemos en Latinoamérica y ponerlas en una pantalla grande para el público internacional.
There's so much meaning in what you're saying there. You know, there's so many different layers of things that are obviously important for you to get across in this film. And maybe let's just start with what you were talking about in terms of Latin American representation and kind of taking that out into the world, and especially in animation.
Yeah, I think in Latin America, we are used to watch a lot of films and animation and live action film, you know, and it's always about the other part of the world, you know, about cowboys and ninjas and robots, and it's cool, and I like that type of films, but we don't get to watch a lot of Latin American characters, and we don't get to watch a lot of about our own culture and mythology, and I think in Latin America we have like this crazy rich amount of different kinds of characters and stories and mythologies, and for me as a director, as a filmmaker, I think that is the thing that I want to do. I want to take these elements and put them in a film. I want to. I like the universal stories. I like the hero's journey. I like that kind of stories. But I think it's very important to have these particular elements of Latin America, and I think it's not just a thing of to put brown-skinned people or you know, with the this type of clothing, or you know, or I think it's more than that. I think we need to dig in our idiosyncrasy. I don't know if it's I said it right. Yeah. Because it's not, you know, in NAHUEL it's a hero's journey, but in the center of the story, of the adventure and the magic thing, there's a story about a father and a son, and I think in Latin America, this kind of family, just a man and his son, or it's pretty common. There's a lot of non-traditional type of families. I think not only in Latin America, in the whole world. So I think it's very important for the kids to get to watch not only the traditional father, mother, and 3 children family. So there's different kinds of family, and there's drama in life too. You can lose your mom when you are very young, and I think it sounds a little rough, but at the same time it's the reality. So I think there's a space, or there's a way to tell these kinds of stories for kids, without, I think sometimes, you know, especially with the children content, they think that kids are not prepared to absorb or to watch this type of stories, and I think kids are more strong and are more intelligent than we adults think they are. Exactly. And I really like to approach to animation with that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think you know, that's what really resonated with us at the festival, is that you really treat kids with a lot of respect. And I know that a lot of our kid audiences, you know, they are really interested in seeing other kids face challenges, and
yeah.
What is so wonderful about NAHUEL, I think, is that there's this sense of NAHUEL, you know, realizing that he's afraid, and thinking of different ways to approach that. And it's such a great journey that you take the characters and the audience through. So I wonder if you could just talk about, like, writing as co-writer, that story, and sort of thinking specifically about how NAHUEL was maybe going to be a different type of hero, and how the other characters came into play.
Yeah, for us, it was very important that Nahuel was a lovable character, and we put a lot of effort, you know, in the design process. We put a lot of effort that, you know, picking the right colors, picking the right clothing, picking the right hair, because, yeah, it's a very important emotional element in the story. So the design of the character, not only in the graphic area, but also in the type of acting, the voice that you choose for the character, it's very important. So yeah, I think you know, Nahuel and Fresia, it's like the center of the story in terms of plot, because they are together all the time and run the two. But the relationship that these two kids build in the face of adversity is very important, because they complement each other. And Fresia is not like a sidekick. Fresia share a lot of wisdom with Nahuel, and yeah.
Yeah, maybe actually let's look a little bit at some of your influences, and you can maybe talk about the indigenous aspect of it, and we'll give viewers just a little refresh on Fresia and incorporating that. So let's take a look at clip 2, which maybe will start us off in terms of the indigenous and mythological storyline. So can you please play clip 2?
Aumenta, crece, yo te lo ordeno. Ufka balak mi saldum. Lo que fuiste ya no serás. Creo Eurgadab, un gigante entre los tuyos. Ufka balak mi saldum. 10 veces tu sombra tendrás. ¡Oh! ¡Wow!
Oh, that imagery is so gorgeous, just like so vibrant and evocative. But maybe we can show the still of Fresia, and Germán, you can talk to us about how you were inspired and how you researched some of these indigenous storylines and how they came out.
Okay. So, well, Fresia is a typical name from the Mapuche culture, as well as Nahuel. Nahuel is a indigenous name. Yeah, the film is setting in Chiloé. Chiloé is an archipelago in the southern part of Chile. It's a very special place because in this place, in these islands, this group of islands, a few centuries ago, when the European people came to this part of the world, the indigenous culture and the European culture mixed together. And in this point is where the Chilote culture was born. It's a mix between the indigenous vision of the world, the indigenous costumes, but also with the European mythology. So in the Chilote culture, you can, you can find, you know, stories about warlocks, about witches, about you know, like phantom ships, barco fantasma. I don't know how to say it.
Say that again.
Like phantoms ship.
Oh, like ghost ships.
Barco fantasma is like the boat filled with the phantoms.
Mm-hmm. A ghost
You
ship.
know, yeah. But the thing that I want to say is, it's a pretty special place, and it's a pretty special culture and mythology that you can find there. And in the center of this, there's the Mapuche culture, and Fresia is a kid from the Mapuche culture. So we try to take these elements with a lot of respect. We try to use these elements. We did a lot of research, of course. We traveled to Chiloé. We were there for like 1 week, taking pictures, talking with people. So because we know this is a fiction, this is an animation film, it's for kids, it's a pop culture product, but at the same time, we wanted to be respectful but true. We wanted to recreate the place and the culture with certain level of reality. So Fresia, he's an apprentice of Machi. Machi is like the, how to say this? It's not a witch. It's more like a curandera. It's
she's like a healer.
Yeah, a healer. Yeah, thank you. So they represent like this magical side of the Mapuche culture, but it's like it's not magical like a dark wizard. It's like a positive kind of magic. It's a lot of it has a lot of you know, nature elements and healing, and you know, and plants, and a lot of ancestral knowledge. So we wanted to pack this whole world in one character that it was, you know, a kid that that has in the same level of age that Nahuel. So
yeah. It's I think it's interesting when you talk about your inspirations, and now talking about you know, wanting to honor the indigenous culture of Chile, but this sort of spirituality and a respect for the natural world and this gorgeous animation, it really does kind of get back to your inspiration by Miyazaki, and that kind of combination of, you know, fantasy and just this spark of like paying attention to the world and letting the world talk to you rather you talk to it all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I you know, many people has compared Nahuel with the Ghibli films. I think we maybe because of the art, the background art is similar, but I think it's because that you say it's because maybe the inspirational
it's
starting
like a
point.
sensibility.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And you know, what's interesting is that like you're talking about it in these very serious ways about representing a culture, and they are that, but they're also very inventive, and they're also it's a really exciting film. You know, there's definitely like that adventure element, and
Thank
So
you.
it's interesting to me, like, how did you find the balance between, you know, there being this drama of like without giving the storyline away, you know, wizards and you know, having to find somebody and Fresia and Nahuel, and at the same time kind of have these quieter moments.
Yeah, we try to weave these three elements. One element is the plot and the adventure and the going forward. You know, let's go to find my father. The physical journey. On the other side, you have the like this emotional element with the father and the son relationship in the center, the family story in the center, and at the same time this cultural element. So it's a three, how to say this, it's a three, we have these three big elements, and they are all important.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that the exercise for us, it was, yeah, how to weave these three things and create at the same time an entertaining and a pop culture kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, it's really extraordinary. Like, it really stuck out to us, you know, just how well it does that. You know, it just takes you on this adventure, and you're mindful, and you're thinking about all these different things. You're thinking about parallels, and you're thinking about, you know, how you kind of confront the world by being vulnerable and brave and listening around you. So it's just super impressive. I could talk
Thank
about, you know, the themes all day with you or all night with you. You're in Chile, right?
Yeah, I'm in Chile, in Santiago, the capital of Chile.
Santiago, all right. So
yeah.
Nice to be greeting you from Brooklyn to Santiago. It's getting pretty dark for me too, but this is actually an exciting evening for us because Night Gift doesn't usually get to stay up this late when we're in theaters. So thank you, audience, for being with us. So maybe what we can do now, as I said, I could talk about the story all night, but let's dive into the actual visuals and making of, and maybe take a little look at you all working at Carburadores. And
Carburadores,
then,
yeah, it's very difficult, I know, for you guys to pronounce it.
And then you can tell us about crafting the story world. So can we please take a look at clip 3? Amazing. It's always incredible to have a look at, starting from the very first sketches to animatics to this amazing finished product. Maybe just take us through, like how did you first start to develop this character look and imagery, and sort of tell us a little bit, especially for our young audience, about how that journey happens.
Well, it's a very long journey,
Yeah.
There was 2 years of pre-production. In those years, we did the character designs, the first sketch of the characters. And at the same time, we had to create this whole world. We, as I said, we had this really big photographic library. So we try to balance our expectations, our with the reality, because NAHUEL is a very low budget production. You guys in US are used to hear about the budgets of Pixar, $200 million, and and it's great to work with that amount of resources, but the reality in Latin America is pretty different. So we had to work with that with very little money. So all the artistic solution, all the animation solutions has to respond to that reality. When we were creating the designs, when we were creating the first animation test, and we had to that in mind. So it was not only a creative exercise, it was at the same time, it was like an strategic, we had to take a lot of strategic decisions, because for me, I will want to, the animation have shadows and more details, but it's not possible because the budget doesn't allow it. So
that's amazing, though. I mean, it's not something that comes across, and it makes me want to ask you about thinking about the palette and the color scheme, because I think there's such vibrancy to the choices that you make with the colors that you don't think about any of those other elements that you're talking about. So how did that choice come about?
It's well, we did a color script. So the color script is like it's like strips with a very undetailed images, but with a lot of color. It's like chunks of colors put in this kind of strip, and you can watch the whole film with colors. So
I love that. It's just like a stream of colors. It's the coolest thing. And then you see sort of like this emotional change by colors.
Exactly. It's the way that you can handle the emotional aspect element with colors. So of course, if there's a scene where the main character is sad because anything, of course maybe you want to work with the maybe cold and a cold palette like blues and grays, and if the situation is happier or more adventurous, you want to put a lot of color and maybe brighter colors and warmer colors. It's to handle to manage the storytelling, the visual storytelling with colors. So this is one of the many elements that you have to create in the pre-production. We did like tons of concept art. We have to, because you have to, in animation, you have to create everything. You have to create the house of Nahuel, the bedroom of Nahuel, every element, every place that is in the film, you have to create it. Even if you have a lot of references, photographic reference, it's just a starting point, but you have to create everything. So in our case, it was very important that the nature was nature is an important element in our film, because it's an important element in Chiloé, this place that I talked about. It's a very I don't know if wild is the right word, but it's you know, if kids has to, they have to walk, you know, like 2 miles for a dirt road to go to the school every day. So it's like a roughness
Yep. Huh,
that is very special in this place, you know. And we wanted to take this and put it in the screen. So
yeah, it's an incredibly evocative world. So gorgeous. I want to make sure, I know that our kids are going to be especially interested in the way that you talk about all these different aspects of animation and how you so mindfully craft all of these different elements. But I want to now turn it over to them so that they get to ask you in their own voice their question.
Oh, great.
So if you're ready for that, Germán.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Excellent. I am going to go now to our first question, which I believe is from Tristan.
Hi, I'm Tristan. I'm 10 years old and I'm from Queens, New York. My first question is, what was the most challenging part of making this film?
okay, thank you, Tristan, for your question. I think we face many different challenges. For me, it was like running a marathon of 5 years. You know, when you make a short film or a TV commercial or even an episode of a TV series, you have to put a lot of effort in a short amount of time, maybe a few months, you know. But in this case, it was 5 years. So I think to keep the team focused, to not lose the direction. I think it was the most difficult thing to accomplish, because in the artistic aspect, we have a great team of animators and artists. So everything they did was great. We did not struggle with that. We struggled with time, with endure these 5 years, because you get tired in some point, and you have to keep going and going and going until the film is finished. So I think that was the main challenge for us.
Yeah, thank you, Tristan. Yeah, and 5 years, you know, that's half of a lot of our kids' lives, if not more. So
yeah,
but don't be discouraged.
Yeah, actually, Tristan was 10, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a marathon, but it's a cool one. That's fantastic. All right, our next question is from Benji.
Hi, I'm Benji. I'm 8 years old and I live in Orlando, Florida. I just made my first stop motion animation film. Do you have any advice for any kids who want to be filmmakers?
Oh, congratulations. Advice, yeah, you
just have to do it. When you are a kid, you have all the time in the world, so you have to experiment a lot. Try everything that you have in your mind. Don't limit yourself. Just keep doing stuff. Keep trying. Yeah, every day. I think to be an animator, it's like to be a musician, or it's like in sports. You have to practice every day because you are building your future, and every day counts. If you really want to be a filmmaker, every day you have to do a little something, you know. Maybe just grab your cell phone and record a few shots and upload it to Instagram. I don't know, but yeah, I think practice is very important.
Excellent. All right, our next question is from Ria.
Hi, my name is Ryan and I am 8 years old and I'm from Brooklyn, New York. The boy in the story is afraid of the sea. Are you afraid of anything?
Wow. Tough question. Yeah, of course, I'm afraid of many things, like everybody. I think sometimes it's very difficult to realize what you are afraid of. Many times you don't know until you face that thing. In my case, I don't like to. I'm not a big fan of flying. It scares me a little bit, but you know, every day you can and I discovered that the first time that I flew. Before that, I didn't know that I don't really love to travel in planes, but I think it's a little scared. It's a little afraid. But if you face it, and every time it's going to be a little less. So yeah, I think we all have we all scared different things. I think there's no human that have no afraid.
Yeah, very, very well put, and very much this theme of Nahuel. You know, we all have our fears and vulnerabilities,
Fears,
and stronger every time we try.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful film. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Germán. We're excited to be having it out into the world and having audiences see it everywhere. And thank you for this great talk. Thank you, kids, for your excellent questions and for your thoughtfulness, Germán, and responding to them. I just have one last question for you before I go, before we go. I've heard that you're working on a new feature. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We are working in a new.
A little hint about what it might be?
Yeah, it's about a 16-year-old girl called Mercedes. This film is set in the north part of Chile. There was a time in Chile very much like the old Wild West, where there was a lot of mining in the north part, and you know, and so it's about this girl that has to face the devil, and because she has to return to the devil a piece of gold that once belonged to him. And doing this, she's able to rescue his brother that was trapped in a earthquake in a mine, in derrumbe. I don't know how to say it. In a
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So it's a story about a girl. It has a lot of adventure too. I think this story is going to be a little for an audience a little bigger, because the main character is 16, and it also has a lot of to do with the families and these emotional bonds between people. But we are just in the pre-production. I think we have a lot way to go still. But
that works perfectly with our audience, because they can enjoy NAHUEL now and grow up a little bit, and then by the time your film is ready, they'll be ready.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Excellent. And that is exciting for us too. Tomorrow we have a conversation with Germán Acuña, the director of Calamity. So it'll be interesting to look at these stories of kind of the Wild West and these other time periods, and how
great film.
Kids meet the challenges. Yes. So again, Germán, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for sharing this amazing film. Congratulations to you and your whole team. And we wish you the best, and we're just thrilled to share it.
Okay, thank you for the invitation. It was very really fun for me. Sorry for my English. I know it's very rough. I hope you understand.
You're too modest.
I
But
did my best.
It's our job to celebrate you. So thank you. Gracias. Hasta pronto. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night again. Tomorrow we will have this conversation with Germán Acuña at 2 p.m. Thank you, Germán. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.